Hey coin collectors, Dan the Collecting Man here. Today I'm going to go through what is probably the top 10 best silver ounce coins you can get this year. So these are predominantly ones that come out of the government mint and the ones that have a really good ability to sell if you need to. So they are quite collectible and very, very liquid, as it's known in the industry for these ones. So I'm going to go through what are my thoughts on all the key ones, the key staples that are out there. There's a newcomer to the block as well, and some of the other ones that I've got a couple of special mentions that are on the side that I think are really cool. So I'll start off with one of the core ones that you can get pretty easily this year. So they're obviously mass produced, have the ability to get them, but the world recognised they're very, very liquid when it comes to selling your bullion. So the Philharmonics for me is up there. I'll put this one at a number 10 for this one. I do have problems with often getting milk spots on these ones, but I still think they're pretty cool. So €1.5, so 2026 Philharmonics. As you can see here, it's got no reeded edges, so it's got the beautiful fine edge, which does look really cool if you can get a really nice image on that to see. It's almost like a proof-like finish just around the rim of the actual coin. But a really nice one, very, very staple, and has a big history. The next one is at number 9, the Britannia out of the Royal Mint. I think this one is a pretty good staple one. I do get a lot of issues with milk spots on these ones as well from a quality standpoint, but I think these are not too bad. Very good security on these ones. So that's what I do like about this one here with the Britannia, is you do have the security. So obviously you got the little, where you got the trident that turns into a padlock, depending on which way you look at it. So you can see that it turns into a padlock on one angle and a trident the other angle. So with all these micro waves in there, really makes it hard to have a fake of this one. So I think that's a really good one out of the Britannia. The next one is a Krugerrand. I do like the Krugerrands. They can be a little bit harder to get, but for me, they're a good staple one to have. They do have micro engraving along the writing in here. So if you look under the microscope, you can see the micro engraving around there. It normally just says the word Krugerrand within that. And this is a pretty good staple one. Really good kind of frosted-ish finish. It's not a beautiful, perfect finish, a bit like some of the other ones, but it is a good staple one to get. And I do like having a Krugerrand as part of the collection. Then I've gone for the homegrown Australian one. For me, this is the best bang for buck. So if you're just looking to stack silver, specifically in Australia, I'd say the Kangaroo by far is the best one to get. You do have micro engraving in there. Off memory, it's somewhere in the silver or somewhere around the bottom there. You'll see a little A in there. That makes it very, very hard to make a fake of those. So really good, and look at all the little wavy lines around the writing. This just makes it really hard for someone to make a copy fake of this one. So you normally can see it pretty quickly if it's a genuine one or not. Very mass produced, but best value for money if you're going for something like that. So definitely for me, having a homegrown one. The maple for me is by far one of the better ones to get. You can see all those radial lines around the edge just by turning around the light. Just the quality of this one by far is probably one of the best from the government mint. Also got a 5-ounce edition this year, which is definitely a really good one to get, and I've got that one on order, which is looking forward to that. Slightly different, they're going to change up the design every year, so it's missing the little stalk there, and it looks like they'll be changing it up every year. So getting the first edition 5-ounce one would be pretty cool, so I'll do an unboxing when I get that. This one also has the little maple down here to the bottom right with a 26 in there, so obviously there's a 2026 year with King Charles on there. Good staple ones to get. You do pay a little bit of premium on those ones, but I do think they're definitely up there as one of the best ones to get. Then we got the American Eagle. Now early on this year, they obviously had stopped producing the Eagles based on the silver and what was happening. I'm not 100% sure what's happening now. So we're not sure what the mintage is going to be for the 2026 Silver Eagle, but I do think that these are going to be pretty cool. It's always cool to get a Silver Eagle. I think there's something about it. I do prefer the Type 1s over the Type 2s, but it's definitely good to have yourself a Silver Eagle. I got it out pretty early in the year, did pay a bit of a premium, and now looking at it, I probably spent too much on this one, but especially when the news was out there that they weren't going to be potentially producing any more, it would have been potentially to have lower mintages on these, which makes these quite collectible because a lot of people like doing the year runs on these ones. So do love having an American Silver Eagle. I think that's definitely a nice little one to add to that little bit of collection there. Then we go into a couple of the Perth Mint ones. I think this year's Kookaburra. Kookaburra is a very staple worldwide collectible one. So it's a government mint, obviously from the Perth Mint. Quality standpoint is up there with the top. So you'd put this up there with the Royal Canadian Mint from a quality standpoint. This year's design is not my favourite from a Kookaburra design. That's one thing I do like about it though, is they do change up the designs every year. So you do get a different design, and you can get them in different metals as well. So if you're after, I often get the platinum 1/10 ounce, you can get the gold 1/10 as well. So definitely a good staple one to get. They do have a max mintage of 500,000, which is quite high. So they're attainable. They're not super rare, but they're definitely something that a lot of people like to collect because it's a bit of a series to try and get them every year with the different designs on them. So I think it's really cool. You do have the micro engraving in these ones as well from a security standpoint. So definitely good to have that. You can see the way they've done the frosted background. It makes it really hard to make a copy of that. Look at the finish on that. Definitely from a quality standpoint, and you know, a lot of people around the world would definitely want to get themselves a Kookaburra as something quite unique and collectible. Now the next one is a bit of an interesting one because a lot of people don't like the China Pandas because it is from China, and also because it's only 30 grams, not a troy ounce, which is 31.1, which is definitely interesting to see now when you see the prices going up a lot higher. The difference 1.1 gram makes in the value of silver is quite different. Like when it used to be about $30, it was, you know, not much of a difference in value. But now when we're looking at $100+ Australian, that extra gram is a bit of a difference when it comes to silver content. But from a collectible point of view, obviously China put out that they stopped exporting any silver into the world unless they have certain licenses. So it's very, very hard. You're looking at $200 minimum Australian dollars, so double the value of silver to get these now. So they're definitely a lot harder. The finish on these are amazing. And this is the only like government mint with their core bullion coin that changes the design every year. So definitely cool. I thought, especially in this year, the year of kind of silver, if we can call it, and gold, I think this is definitely a cool one to get, to have the China Panda. And it's almost like a 3D finish. The finish and the design that they brought out in this one, this is one of my favorite panda designs that I've seen as well. So do like having that. So I got that in number 2 because the potential on the long-term premium on that and to get a good return is really good. And so far, already on the secondary market, we're pretty early on the year, you can get a very, very good return on that one. So it could be up there. The only reason why I haven't got it up there as number 1 is because obviously some people don't like getting China coins, and it's not a full troy ounce, so it kind of misses out on that standpoint. So coming in at number 2, we've got the Lunar series out of the Perth Mint. So I've got 2 of them here. We've got the standard one, and then this is the one with the dragon privy mark on it. But both are really good. A lot of people worldwide do collect the Perth Mint Lunar series. It's one of the most anticipated releases in Australian bullion, is when the Lunar series comes out. It's definitely the key one that a lot of people like to get. I do like it how there's a lot of different sizes. So you can go all the way from a quarter ounce ones. They often do special edition ones right up to the 1 kilo. I think there's even a 10 kilo edition that they come out when it comes to silver. And obviously in gold as well, you can get some half grammers all the way up to quite a few ounces. So really, really good. And they also do platinum 1 ounce as well that comes out, but that sells out. It's only 5,000 mintage of those. So they go out pretty quick. It's a really good. Year of the Horse is also one of the key ones to get there. So you obviously got the Year of the Dragon, the Year of the Tiger, and the Year of the Horse is right up there. It's one of the key ones. A lot of people are horse fans, and you can just see that finish on there. So just the quality from the Perth Mint is absolutely spot on. Looking at under that light and that frosting, you can see why a lot of people do choose the Perth Mint as being one of the best mints up there in the world. So obviously it's got the security micro engraving in this one as well. So if you're looking to ensure you have a genuine one, I think the Perth Mint is definitely cool. Now for me, the number 1, this is a little bit of the out of the box one. So A lot of people probably aren't fully across this one yet, but I think this one in the long term has some real potential depending on where they take the series. So this is the new series that's been released out of the Perth Mint called the Wonders of Australia. This is the Outback edition. Now look at this design and how much they've been able to put into this design without losing it. So they've used the full face of the coin, and it's just absolutely amazing. So 1 ounce of silver. I also like it how they've done it on the obverse, brought in some of the design around the edge. As you can see here, it's a $1 1 ounce coin. Really beautiful design. Bullion coin, so it's not a proof or anything else special. It is 1 ounce, just a standard bullion coin. There is also an opal edition, which I've got here. So they got a special proof opal edition, which has got opal, which is very low minted to about 5,000, so that's pretty cool. But I think given that this is the start of a series, and the way they've already started off the series, I think this is one that's going to be a lot of people are going to hunt back in the future and try and collect. So I think this one, from my personal opinion, has a good long-term return potential on it. So it's minted to 100,000 from what I can understand. And I think this one will definitely be cool. So this is my number one for 2026 because I think this one, I also love the design. I think if out of all the designs that's there, this for me is an absolutely really cool design. And even when you put it under the microscope, you can't see any imperfections, and you only see more and more detail put it under the microscope. So the fact that you can put it under a microscope for a bullion coin and find more details makes it that little bit better. Then I've got a couple of special mentions. So I think the Mexican Libertad, don't know what's happening with them this year. Some years, I think last year was a very, very low minted, I think only in the hundreds. So very hard to get. Not sure what's happening with it this year. So we're not sure what the mintage is going to be on this one. So if you can get yourself a Mexican Libertad, you do pay high premiums, but I think they are worth it. The last one I've got is 2024. So obviously I'm missing 2025, which I'm always going to be missing because it's going to cost too much. So I'd love to know if there's a 2026 edition and what it's going to be, but that's definitely out there. That would be right up there in the top 5 if they do release it. And the wedge-tailed eagle out of the Perth Mint is another one that a lot of people do like to get. Wasn't a big fan of this one, 2026, because they've got the wedge-tailed eagle and the bald eagle on the same coin, but only inscripting the wedge-tailed eagle, which I thought was a little bit of a miss there. So they're describing one eagle when they've got an image of 2. But overall, this is definitely a cool series that a lot of people like to get as well. So I think it's special mention. If you've got it, I think it's a good one to get, but definitely not up there. So I'd love to know what your favorite silver is. I think the actual number one for not a 1 ounce, but overall silver would have to be that 5 ounce maple. I think that's going to be the one for the year. I can't wait to get an unboxing to that. I think the detail and the quality of the Royal Canadian Mint put into that will be really cool. So if you have the opportunity to get one of those, I think that's going to be the core one to get from 2026. But for the standard 1 ounce coins, I think they're my top 10. So I'd love to know your feedback and if there's any I've missed that you'd personally like to recommend, and put it in the chat. I love it when people put chats and everyone comments on each other. It's a lot of fun to read what everyone else thinks on this. So make sure you subscribe to Dan the Collecting Man to stay up to date and see any other cool releases coming out. We're still yet to see the koala coming out of the Perth Mint, and I'm sure there's going to be a couple of other key releases coming out in the next couple of months. That'll be really good staples to look at and adding to that collection. And as always, thanks so much for watching and joining the coin collecting community. I'll catch you in my next video. Dan.